You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your new favorite podcast for everything Bills and Sabres. Oh, what's going on, everybody? You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your favorite podcast for all things Bills and Sabres, with the pals Nigel, Tom, and Jake. Episode 60 coming at you. Quick reminder, folks, you know the drill. Don't forget to follow the socials. You can find us on all of them: Instagram, X, YouTube, TikTok. We're on all of them with the handle at Let's Go Buff Pod. That's Buff with 2 F's, at Let's Go Buff Pod. And let's see here. How about we get around and say hello to the guys first? Tommy, how we doing?
Hello. I'm fantastic, dude. I'm so good, dude. Yeah. Your little bring on had a little extra juice tonight, huh?
Well, you know, Tom, when you beat up an NFL team the way that the Buffalo Bills beat up the Jacksonville Jaguars last night, it is really difficult, unless you're a Jags fan, to not walk around with a little extra pep in your step, dude. Oh,
what
my
day,
goodness
huh?
gracious, dude.
Yeah,
the Bills are crazy right now. The Bills are crazy.
And it's fun. Yeah, I agree. I had a nice.
It is very fun
on my face all day.
Yeah, it's just, you just get a little, well, I don't know, man. I was a little rough today. I'll be totally honest. I was hungover as fuck this morning, but yeah, I got after a little bit last night. It was when the vibe
you,
was
that's
that
3
good,
beers, so yeah.
Yeah. These days, kind of, yeah. Yo, Jake, what's going on, bro?
I was feeling the pep in my step at halftime. I don't know about you guys, but dude, I'm great. Yeah, what a way to start the week.
Yeah, not bad, right? Not even a little bit bad.
Back from my journeys to New Amsterdam, as you guys shouted out last night, which
yeah, dude. So tell us, man, how was it?
It was great. Well, I was in the old Amsterdam. Sorry to give you a little shit there, Tom.
The Eldon.
No, dude, it was great. It's a beautiful city. I love the Dutch people. It was a good trip. It was a good trip. So happy to be back. But yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, while we're sharing fun life things, I wanted to. I should have said this last week. I totally forgot. But I became an uncle last week. It's sick. Yeah, my nephew was born, super healthy. Mom's doing great. So shout out my lovely little sister Olivia and her amazing husband William. Thanks for doing that, because my other siblings and I were starting to feel the pressure a little bit. So it's nice. It's nice to get that off. And he's absolutely perfect and handsome. And he had his Bills hat on for the game last night. So all good there. But yeah, pretty sweet. Pretty sweet being an uncle.
Little baby, repeat after me. Hey.
Yeah, right, dude. I know. I mean, he's officially a week old at this point, so I think he was asleep for the game. But
no, he's fine. He's already got it. Yeah, he's good. It's all good. I know what it is.
Yeah, man. You know the life. All right, boys. What do you say? Should we get ourselves rolling a little bit here? How about a beverage to start?
You ready for another one, Nigel?
I am ready. Well, a little bit. It's gonna be a little hair of the dog here, but anything for the pod, boys. We ready?
Count us down, buddy.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Jake, we missed you last week because our mics don't pick up the pop very good. So.
Yeah, not like yours, dude.
That's the shitty quality mic picking up everything, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, Jake, let's start with you, buddy. What are you drinking?
Sure. Well, I'm drinking from Grimm Flash Frame.
Flash Frame.
It's an IPA.
Nice, bro.
I got a little Mount Holly Lager, hella good Pilsner from right around the corner from me. Yeah.
And
Nigel, are you drinking? What are you drinking, Nigel?
I already split it last week. This is my last one, though. And my honey is out right now getting us some groceries. So I did ask her if she would so kindly grab me a new 6-pack of something. So I told her to surprise me. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what I have next week.
Watch her pick out the same 6-pack.
Oh, I did tell her anything but that one. And let's say if she forgot, I wouldn't have the heart to be like, oh, I can't drink it.
Yeah, no, you got it. Yeah, you got it.
So did you like it enough where if she did bring it, was it a good beer?
Oh, it's delicious. Yeah, I will get more of these just to casually hang out and drink by myself.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, it's great beer.
Cheers, boys. Happy Victory Tuesday.
Yep. Happy Victory Tuesday. Speaking of victories, Sabres aren't the only team that's getting some dubs. I know it's only preseason for the Sabres, but Jake, we've been watching the boys put up some serious goals. You want to touch on some of these Sabres preseason games that we were able to enjoy?
Yeah, before we dissect the Bills, let's do a quick few minutes on the Sabres update there, because like you said, training camp is over. They've had 2 games, one against Pittsburgh, one against Columbus. They put up 13 goals in those 2 games. Now, before we get too ahead of ourselves, this is preseason. You can't read into it too much. They're playing Pittsburgh's, BC team. D team, yeah. And, same with Columbus. They had a few NHLers on the ice, but the Sabres had a much, much stronger roster in both nights. So you like to see them go out and look like that. And they did exactly that. 7-3 over Pittsburgh and 6-1 over Columbus. And again, preseason, but I wanted to call out some prominent performers. JJ Peterka put up 5 points, including a hat trick against Pittsburgh. And then a couple of guys with 3 points in those games, Cousins, Benson, and Quinn. You like to see the young guys doing that in the preseason, so hopefully that continues. And the final thing that I wanted to point out is just that, I only watched one of the games, admittedly, but watching the power play, that's where I had my eye with Seth Appert taking over and how disjointed it looked at times last year. The numbers weren't phenomenal, but they were 1 for 3 against Pittsburgh, 1 for 4 against Columbus. What I'm looking at there is they scored a power play goal in each game. Can't ask for too much more than that. And just in general, it didn't look quite as sloppy or uninspired as it did last year. There was a bit more puck movement and a lot more body movement in front of the net, and I really liked to see that. I don't know, Nigel, did you catch any of the games? Anything else to add on preseason games?
I don't know if you guys can see me right now. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm looking at my screen and I'm like, man, I'm kind of dark, and I'm trying to get this thing back up in my window to open up my blinds a little bit. So that's what I'm doing.
So he's locked in. He's
no, man. Come on, man. I'm always locked in. Man, I'll be totally honest as well. It's preseason hockey, and once I was planning to watch the first one, and then when I saw who Pittsburgh was putting on the ice, I was like, whatever happens in this game, you can't look into any of it, whether it's really good or really bad. Like you said, it's great that we handle our business. Like we should put up goals like that against Pittsburgh's D team. I guess the only other thing I would add, dude, UPL played in that game. That Pittsburgh team still scored 3 goals, and I got to be honest, bro, the goals that they scored, real ugly, like stinkers that I would have liked to see UPL have. Again, preseason. Well, let's equate this to Bill Center. I'm having a brain fart. Connor McGovern. We'll compare that to him. Now having great snaps with Josh Allen early, right? Same kind of a thing. Yeah. Not something to read into too much, but worth paying attention to, I guess. But yeah, I think it's great. When we saw everything you said about the power play was accurate. I think my favorite quote that I saw about the power play from Appert was that, like, this power, and it felt a little bit like a shot almost. It was like the days of just putting Tage Thompson on that far circle and leaving him there are done.
Yeah.
Right. So it sounds like we're going to have a lot more motion to this power play, which if we think back to last season when Bowen Byram came over, like watching him skate all over the ice and like looking at his teammates and being like, why aren't you guys moving? I think it's good that we're seeing some more movement. So hopefully it'll be more productive. Time will tell. I'm not willing to give Seth Appert too much credit just yet, just because of who the power play has faced, but it definitely it did look nice, no doubt.
For sure. Well, and to draw a Bills comparison for those of you who might not follow hockey as much, it's similar to what the offense last year and what the offense this year have looked like. You had Stephon Diggs that was your primary target that you needed to feed the ball to. That's what the Sabres were trying to do last year, was feed Tage Thompson on the side. And so now if you have good talent, spread the puck around, spread the chances around, just like the Bills are doing on offense. So hopefully we see more of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Couple other notes before they left for Europe. Darlene did practice today in a non-contact jersey. Said he felt good, and I'd be shocked if he wasn't ready to go for game 1. And then finally, I just wanted to call out Zach Benson has looked good in preseason and seemingly continues to develop. He's impressed Lindy Ruff, and what I've been most encouraged about him is he's been on the second line there with Dylan Cousins and Jack Quinn. I wanted to see Benson there over new addition Jason Zucker. So I'm happy to see that.
Yes.
Speaking of lines, I don't want to spend too much time on these because they're not set, but just they did release lines right before they left for practice. So it's exactly what you'd kind of expect up top. JJ Peterka, Thompson, Tuck, great. Second line, Benson, Cousins, Quinn, young line, but hopefully they can produce a bit more this year. And then rounding out the roster on the bottom six, Jordan Greenway, McLeod, and Zucker, speedy third line. And then Beck Mallenstein, Sam Lafferty, and Nicholas Alvey-Kubel. The one thing I did want to ask you about, Nigel, Peyton Krebs not on the top four lines. How much do you read into that? And do you expect him to get into the action when they're over in Europe?
Man, I'm not sure what to make of the Peyton Krebs situation right now and the way that he's been utilized. Now, we did see, wasn't he playing a little bit higher up in the lineup the other night?
He did, yeah, with Thompson and Peterka against Columbus.
Yeah,
And he looked good. Yeah,
he was pretty good, right? So I don't know, man. It's tough to, yeah. I would imagine he's going to get some run, right? Like I think Peyton Krebs is on this team, and I don't think he's like the 13th forward, right?
Yeah.
I think right now we talked about lines a little bit last week, Tom and I, and I'm still right now seeing him on that fourth line somewhere. I'm torn between who I think is going to center. I think it's either going to be him or Lafferty, but I don't know what that looks like yet. My best guess right now is I'm predicting to see Krebsy on that fourth line in the center position, but it's tough to say, man. He still feels a little bit like the odd man out, doesn't he, in some ways?
Agreed. Yeah, he's definitely younger than all those other guys, lacks the experience, and I think some of the sandpaper. He's not a lay down and take it player, but some of those other guys are a little more established. So he could be the odd man out on game one. You could do a lot worse for a 13th forward than Peyton Krebs, though. So if he is sitting out, I think he cycles in throughout the year. Injuries happen and whatnot, but I think it's encouraging. Say Tuck goes down for 10 games. I'd feel comfortable with what I saw last night. I wouldn't feel great, but I feel comfortable with him slotting into a higher up the lineup role. So,
yeah, I don't know, man. There's a part of me that just feels a little bit bad for Peyton Krebs. It feels like he's. For some reason, I feel like he's like right there. He just like can't quite carve out what his role is yet. Like I'm not even sure. Like I think he has an idea of what he wants it to be, but he can't quite like perfectly get it to fall into place. I feel like I don't even know why I necessarily feel like that. It's just what my eyeball test shows me and what I see with where he is in the lineup sometimes. And I don't know, man. It's just kind of a weird situation, but time will tell. New coach could be totally different.
It will, and he's a player that really wants to be here. I heard Elliot Friedman talking about the contract negotiations where Buffalo was kind of considering trading him rather than signing him, and he asked his agent to kind of shut that down. Not so much to say that Peyton Krebs can tell the Sabres whether or not to trade him, but he did not want those rumors getting out and having people think that he didn't want to be in Buffalo. So he went out of his way to make that known. So.
That counts.
That's a thumbs up.
I mean, yeah. I mean, just as a fan like that, it's not bullshit that Kevin Adams says he wants guys to be here that want to be here. It's just, is that realistic all the time? I guess is the question. But when you got a guy that actively wants to be here and he's decent, fucking keep him.
Yeah, exactly. Real quick, running through the D pairs: Dahlin and Yoki Haru, Bowen Byram and Power, Samuelson and Clifton, and then a few guys that are act as 7, 8, and 9 defensemen for the trip to Europe. Nothing really surprising there. That's exactly what I was expecting to see. And then your goalies, UPL, Devin Levi, James Reimer. I did want to talk real quick about two quote-unquote surprises. I'm not actually that surprised that they didn't make this team go into Europe, but Isak Rosen and Ryan Johnson. I'll say real quick, Rosen, it's getting to be put up or shut up time. I mean, he's spent a couple of years. He was a high to mid first round pick. If you're not cracking the NHL roster by the time you're 21, 22, or at least showing some flashes in the NHL, it starts to get a little concerning. So he's somebody that I'm interested to see this year, how he progresses. And then on defense, Ryan Johnson played in Buffalo quite a bit last year. I was a little surprised to see him not get the nod over somebody like Cale Clegg or Dennis Gilbert. Any thoughts on either of those two, Naj?
I think Dennis Gilbert is a lock to be that seventh defenseman, if not like the first guy like into rotation, on a night where Lindy just maybe wants to shake things up. Dennis Gilbert he's a completely different playing style than several of the guys that we have. He's a prick to play against. Not an offensive guru by any means, and he's a Buffalo guy. I think he's going to get the edge with the experience, right? Like Ryan Johnson fits more into that Henry Yoki-Haru kind of a mold. He doesn't play the kind of game that a Dennis Gilbert does. And, if you're thinking skill versus more grit, well, defensively, skill-wise, you've got Dolls, you've got Bowen Byram, you got Yoki. I guess I would put Power in there. I get he's more so that than he is a grit guy, right?
Yeah, I would. He doesn't have the flashiest moves, but he is very offensively aware, and I think that plays
and good
to his game
breakout
really
passes. Well. And then you got Sammy and Clifton, who are your grit guys. Yeah. I would definitely prioritize another sort of stay at home, muscle you down defenseman, as opposed to getting a fifth guy that I would put in that like more skill category, if that makes sense. So I think for me, that's why I'm fine with Johnson staying. I like him better than Kale Clegg. I'll be honest about that. That one, I put a question mark next to for me. Could just be an experience thing. Kale Clegg's older, more time on task. But yeah, those are my feelings there.
I hope what it is Kale Clegg is very unlikely to see any game time in Europe. I hope the intention is Ryan Johnson goes and plays these other handful of preseason games in North America that the Buffalo Amherst are playing. And then, throughout the season, I think Ryan Johnson's first call up over Kale Clegg, especially if it's one of those, top 4 guys that goes down. So,
yep, I would agree with that.
Anyways, folks, to put a bow on Sabres preseason, road ahead. Like I said, the Sabres B team or C team is now going to play a couple of North American games. I love it. Great chance for some young guys to get experience against NHL rosters as the regular season in North America ramps up. And across the pond in Europe, Buffalo will play an exhibition game against Red Bull Munich, a team from the DHL over there. They'll do that this Friday. And then next Friday, the Sabres will travel to Prague to take on the New Jersey Devils in a back-to-back on Friday and Saturday. So we'll go through the games in Prague in a bit more detail next week. But for now, that's the Sabres, boys. Let's move on to a real fun conversation.
The Bills, baby, beat the absolute piss out of the Jacksonville Jaguars. 47-10. It was over before it really even began. Josh had 4 passing touchdowns in the first half. Ultimately ended up going 23 for 30 with 6 rushes for another 44 yards. My God, Tom, just tell me everything on your mind, buddy.
Pants were fully off, boys. just completely disrobed. Didn't need them. Running down the street. This is everything we've wanted, right? Who
really is?
Who in their right minds decided it was a good idea to bait Josh Allen, tell him he was the highest rated smack talker in the league, and that he was overrated? What?
I feels like playing with fire.
It feels great. I just loved it. Just stir the pot, baby. Stir the pot. I freaking love it,
dude.
He looked unbelievable.
Once again, he looked absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah,
like, dude, were there any mistakes? I mean,
no.
I can't
he
even
leveled
really
up.
remember.
He looks completely like he's taken another step,
right?
And
it's not even the physical skills that look like they've taken a step. It looks like they put Peyton Manning's head on his shoulders and left the rest of the body.
Well, there's not enough room for that poor head, but yeah, like
facts, dude.
Like the guy's just playing so smart. He's playing. It looks like he can go out and do whatever he wants to do, right? And I think it's because this offense and honestly the defense is putting him in a place where he doesn't have to force it. Yes, he still has the Uno reverse card in his backhand where he can go ahead and just, fine, fuck it, I'm gonna do it myself. But he doesn't need to do that. He has so many options and so many different ways that this offense can win that it's just opening him up, and it's allowing him to play free and not press and avoid these big kind of silly sugar high Josh Allen mistakes that we've seen in the past. Now, I think we should put some expectations there. I don't think that's gone away. I think that will rear its head a couple times this season. And again, like we always say, that comes with the territory. that comes with this 3-game streak that we've already seen. He probably will do some kind of crazy over the top things at some point that maybe we kind of scratch our heads at, but that doesn't mean it's not elite MVP level, number 1 quarterback in the league level play.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, a Josh Allen that only has to throw the cape on like 3 to 5 times a game, that is a huge problem for the NFL.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows that he can do it at any time.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't have to, because A, there's enough weapons where whatever you choose to take away, there are still options, or B, the running game continues to be what it is right now. A Josh Allen that's winning without him being a psychopath. Yeah. I'm sitting here with my mouth open. What do you do?
Take your pants off, bro.
You take your pants off and you dance, I guess. I don't know. I'm legitimately sitting here wondering, like if you're a defensive coordinator, like what is it that you're like, what do you hanging your hat on, like as your plan to stop him right now?
I don't know. Because
there's no weakness to point to right now. The short game, the intermediate game, the deep game, the play actions, like the Joe Brady's so deep in his bag right now that like I'm just like I'm sitting there like normally you can sit there like, okay, up to this season, right? You could say this, just make Josh Allen be patient because we all know that he can't, right? And if a defensive coordinator said that was the plan to me last year, I'd be like, shit, man, you might fucking win this game. But like, dude, I don't think they're doing that right now.
Or they're trying. Go ahead, Jake. Go ahead.
I was going to say, or if they are, like if they're fabricating a weakness, say they take away the run game, okay, then that probably opens up some lanes for Kincaid, Shakir, Samuel, like whoever it is, you know, like if you fabricate a weakness, then there's 3 other options that we can shift to without the need to funnel anything in any one direction.
And what's completely bananas is that, Josh Allen hasn't had to put on the cape like crazy, but he's still putting up numbers like this, right? He's still playing. He should absolutely get AFC Offensive Player of the Week. It should be him, like, no joke, no question. And I think there was only one moment he had to put on the cape last night, and it was that rollout to the right where he threw a touchdown to Dalton Kincaid, and he had to throw a piss missile across into the back end of the end zone, and somehow Dalton Kincaid, just glued itself to his hands because of the velocity. That was the one time I think he had to, like, okay, that was a Josh Allen, like he's rolling out, doing one of his, crazy extend the plays and catching somebody in the back of the end zone. But other than that, he didn't need to. And he's still putting up crazy numbers and running this offense in a more efficient offense than we've seen. It's just bananas. Like, how lucky are we to get to watch this, boys?
It's a privilege. Every game.
It is a privilege, and it right now is an absolute pleasure to watch the Buffalo Bills play football because all 3 phases are absolutely humming, dude. Like, and I don't know, man. And then the defense too, like. I know we give the offense flowers and there's more to come. We had a couple, Keon with the first tutty and all that stuff. But like this defense, dude, with the injuries and Von Miller can't stop getting sacks. And it's like, I don't know, dude. Like, it's just like all of a sudden the puzzle pieces are like, shoo.
I see the picture, right?
Yeah, dude. And it's just
trust
like
the process. Here we are.
It's just like, wow, man. Like, and like I know I'm going to sound like a bit of a broken record now, but like, okay, so Bill Belichick, the best defensive mind in the last 50 years in the NFL, his whole thing is take away what the offense does the best. What are you taking away right now if you're going against the Bills' offense? Right? Like, are you choosing to take away the running game? Or are you choosing to take away the passing game? Are you choosing to, make sure that Dalton Kincaid can't catch the ball or Khalil Shakir? Like, what's your plan? What's viewed right now? I guess I'll ask this to both of you. What do you like? What is viewed as the weak part of the Bills' offensive game?
It's not weak. It's the one place that you can make and you can just derail this Bills offense. It's Josh Allen. Can you somehow ruffle his feathers? Do something to get him out of rhythm. That's where you can get it. But I don't know how you do that when you can just set up. Okay, you know what? Then this is gonna be a James Cook game. Or, okay, we're going to get him just rhythm passes in the short zone and just get the ball moving and get it out of his hands. Like, I don't know how you do that, but that's the trick. Can you somehow get into Josh Allen's head and get him off his game? That's how you do it.
he looks absolutely unflappable right now, dude. So I guess good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. But
Like
yeah.
I could see that happening a lot more if they're down by a lot, where he's trying to force plays a lot more. But week 1 against the Cardinals, they were down. Was it 2 scores or 10 points or something like that at halftime? And
Yeah.
he was calm. He was ready. He made that fumble early on in the game, but after that, he was dialed in.
Yeah, dude. So
I think that's a good point, Jake, because you're right. If this defense, if you can somehow hang points and then make this offense have to play in a different way and kind of play with some urgency, that could put more pressure. So that's a good point. I like that idea. But what are you going to do against this defense right now? That Sean McDermott and Bobby Babbitt are just like serving, just designing out of their minds. Just
boys are cooking, dude. They're cooking.
This D line, dude. I'm telling you right now, it's both the O line and the D line. We've all kind of been up in arms sometimes, scratching our head at Brandon Beane investing in the trenches, right? All these picks, all these free agents, and maybe it has that picture hasn't quite clicked in the last few seasons, but boy, oh boy, has it clicked this season of all the pieces that he has brought in and put together. The coaching staff, Aaron Cromer, who's our D line coach right now? It's not Washington. He just left for Chicago.
He's at DC. Yep,
it's somebody new. But anyway, if one of you guys could go look that up, because I'd like to shout him out, because I think he's clearly been made an impact here. This coaching staff is using their players and setting them up in really intelligent ways. Jamarcus Ingram had UDFA, right, out of UB, which is kind of fun, had his first career sack of the game yesterday. And I saw an interview. He was kind of talking about the play, and he had the DB's coach was working with him. Don't over pursue. Don't over pursue. So he said in that play, he had the guy in the back of his head. Don't over pursue. Don't go beyond. He pushed Travis Etienne, didn't go around him. And then they knew that Trevor Lawrence was going to step up into the B gap, and boom, he was right there, and we set him up for the play. Like that's the preparation, that's the dedication, the details. It's what we've seen Sean McDermott bring to this team, is this attention to detail, this focus on fundamentals, and what do you do? It's so cool. I just love it.
I know we keep saying that. What do you do? Luckily, it's not up to us. Tom, did you say Jamarcus Ingram or Damar Hamlin when you were just talking about that?
Jamarcus Ingram had his first career sack, but Mr. Damar Hamlin had his first career interception, which I think is absolutely worth a shout out to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nige, you want to take that away?
Yeah, dude. It's just, just kind of a really amazing full circle moment a little bit, right? Like everything the guy's been through, earned a starting spot on this defense with Cole Bishop and Mike Edwards. I know they were injured and stuff, but I don't think they are now, and they haven't taken the job from him. So
Mike Edwards was a healthy scratch.
Yeah. So, right now it's Damar's gig. He's earned it. He's playing well. I don't know how you can sit there and not be like, wow, that feels good. Right. Because it does feel good. You watch the guy go through everything that he's been through and not be given anything because of what he's gone through, but went and earned it and is now making plays. And it's awesome. It's, good for Damar Hamlin and good for Sean McDermott, not giving up on the guy and continuing to coach him up, and same with Babs and the secondary coach. By the way, Marcus West, the defensive line coach. So
thank you.
He absolutely deserves his shout out as well. But yeah, dude, it's just, you love to see it for Damar. It's amazing, dude. Can I pivot us back to the offense for a second?
Please do.
So you want to talk about what do you do, right? These were the players with different touchdowns last night. James Cook, Ray Davis, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, Ty Johnson, Keon Coleman, and that was it, I believe, here.
I need more fingers, Nigel.
Well, Tom, here's the thing. Each one of those guys had one, right? So, it's just, once again, we're not funneling anything through any one guy. Like, we've been saying it every podcast, everybody's eating, dude. Everybody's eating. So, yeah, just another thing I want to point out, you want to eliminate Dalton Kincaid? Sure. Okay. That's 100 other guys we can make plays with. It's just
another way to paint that. Do you guys know which offensive receiving weapons did not catch a pass last night?
Let's see. I think it would be Morris and
Reggie Gilliam.
Reggie Gilliam.
Those are the two. Those are the only two offensive players who are a offensive skill player who did not catch a pass last night.
That's incredible.
That's crazy. That's
Your
so
fullback, which makes sense, and your third string tight end, which makes sense.
Which also makes sense.
Like again.
Oh, dude.
My Lord. Oh, just love it.
Keon with his first touchdown too. Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. Keon Coleman getting his first tutty on a just once again a beautiful play call and design by Joe Brady. I don't know how much of that play you guys have watched, but it's just the way that he designed those receivers to cross one another. It just created the most perfect natural rub for that defenseman that was covering Keon. Keon made his cut, was able to pull away. I said it last night in the group chat, but I'm just going to say it right here as Kermit the Frog with my tea. For a guy that can't separate, he looked awfully open on that touchdown. I'm just saying, dude.
Yep. And it helped the way that Josh threw him open too, right? Josh didn't put it on him. He didn't put it behind him. He led him to the touchdown. If he had put that anywhere else, it either would have been a nice reception and then a tackle at the 3, right? This was a catch and run opportunity to then get to the end zone. So Josh's placement was beautiful as well.
We got to give Spencer Brown a little bit of love here. Tom, you took the time to find this stat. You want to read it to the crew?
Yeah, this is cool. So this is from Next Gen Stats. And Bills right tackle Spencer Brown did not allow a single pressure on 35 pass blocking snaps. His third straight game, so all season, without allowing a single pressure. A single pressure, not allowing us, not on a sack, a pressure. Brown is the only O-line league-wide with at least 25 pass blocking snaps and 0 pressures allowed. The guy's playing out of his mind.
I mean, I don't even say this like as a joke or like as a homer. Do you get any better than that? No. I mean, let alone not allowing sacks, not even allowing a pressure, dude.
Yeah,
that is.
Whoa. Just be the big boy, you know. Just be the big old tree trunk out there.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not. But that's just not even it, dude. He's manhandling men.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like if I were to literally be an offensive lineman against my nephew that's 1 week old right now. He's just like pick you up and put you out of the way. That's the way he's playing right now. He's violent. He's athletic. He's strong. He's fast. I mean, this is gonna turn into a Spencer Brown podcast if we keep going like we are every week on him right now. But you just want to give a guy like that a shout out because his resume is that long.
Yeah,
his resume is that long. You bet on the intangibles, right? You can't teach that size and athleticism, and you just bet on your coaching staff to be able to do it. Shout out Aaron Cromer, right? Who has turned this guy into what looks like is going to be. I mean, you keep that up, you're looking at a Pro Bowl or a All-Pro season.
Yeah.
You know, Jake, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like, so him and Dawkins are pillars on either side of that O-line. If you're a defensive coordinator and you're looking at tape from the last 3 weeks, what are you thinking? Like, how do you combat that? Or is it just he's mismatching guys in size and that's all there is to it?
You attack the middle.
Yeah.
You attack the middle.
You accept the fact that those tackles are absolute studs. And you know, I guess your other option would be stunts, right? Or disguise blitzes, right? Like, so disguise blitz meaning it lines up the same, right? Like if it's a 4-3 defense, 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers, unless, you know, get into semantics, but 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers. It would still be 4 men that blitz, but instead of being the 4 down defensive lineman, it might be like defensive end, skip the defensive tackle, next defensive tackle, and instead one of those linebackers comes. Right. So with that, you can then run like stunts, which is like a crossing delayed blitz, excuse me. So like on a stunt, if I'm the lineman, the defensive lineman, and Tom's a linebacker, what I will do is go and attack the guy that is on the opposite, like diagonal to me. And then Tom on a little bit of delay. If I went right, he will then come around the back on the left, and then he will go on a blitz. It's just all different ways to create motion and confusion so the offensive lineman doesn't pick a guy up. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think at the end of the day, Tom is primarily correct because we've been watching guys or defenses run stunts and shit for the last 3 weeks and it's not working. So and I think on the offensive line where and it's not even where they can be had because it's still 3 good players.
Yes.
But that middle of the offensive line is weaker than it is on the outside. So
And then the really fun part is then you have Josh Allen back there, who is one of the least sacked quarterbacks in the entire league, and can make magic happen. He can get into space and roll out, and he's if you come up the middle, he's going to go right or left, and he's more than happy to do it. He said thank you, and here comes a big play.
Yeah, or a linebacker that gets like a free release is going to be so excited to sack Josh Allen that they're going to come in completely out of control, and Josh Allen's going to take a half a step to the right, and they're going to be 6 yards behind him.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's a system that is married really well, where right like they're setting themselves up for success because Josh can help the O-line and the O-line can help Josh. And which is a really great space to be instead of one kind of holding the other back, or causing more, stress and kind of not making things work as well. It's just set up really well. They're playing great.
Tom, this might be news to you. Khalil Shakir is a really fucking good wide receiver. Would you like to talk about some of the things that he's doing right now?
Hey, Nigel, how many catches has he dropped this season?
Let's see. If my watch is correct, he has not dropped a single pass this year.
Not one. 100% catch rate. That's pretty good.
Pretty good. You take
all right. Yeah. Man,
that.
this guy, I honestly, I think he deserves to be one of the upper echelon wide receivers and to be recognized as an upper echelon wide receiver. I think the big issue is I don't know if he'll ever get the volume to really get there. I don't think he'll have a 1,400 10-yard, 10 touchdown season. I don't think that'll happen just in the way that this offense operates. But holy cow, a couple of fun stats here. Amongst 104 qualifying wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs, Khalil Shakir is first in total receiving expected points added. So anytime that he gets the ball, what is he on average adding to the Bills scoreboard? He's first in expected points per target, 13th in yards per route run. So that's a stat where you're essentially how often is he going out for a pass and then also receiving the target. 12th in yards after catch. Already said this one, but 100% catch rate, just worth saying again. 18th in catch rate over expected, meaning is statistically as that pass and that catch one that should be caught, he's 18th. And then 31st in yards after catch over expected. So again, is what should he be able to do with this ball after he receives it? He's 31st amongst the league. That's over the expectation of what he should get. So he's such a great player. And you hear Josh Allen kind of just rave about the guy, that he's just a football guy. He does everything right. He loves what he does. And holy cow, Khalil is just coming alive.
I have a spicy Khalil Shakir take. Okay. And it's spicy, dude, but I dove into it the other day because this was the player he reminded me of. And then I'm not going to sit here and say that I spent hours of my time watching film on these two players, but I see a lot of similarity, dude. I think Khalil Shakir is every bit as good as Amon-Ra St. Brown. I really do. They're super similar players. They're incredibly good route runners. They're incredibly strong. I think Amon-Ra's probably got a little bit in terms of size and strength, but not a ton, right? Gritty guys. They don't go down without a battle. I think really, I really do, man. And you're right, Tom. The difference is the volume, right? Because Amon-Ra is an unquestioned number one in Detroit. And I mean, we could go back and we said it on the pod before the season started. We predicted Khalil Shakir to be the number one wide receiver. We still kind of put the onus on Kincaid to be the number one receiving option. I don't know about that one anymore. And this is not a knock against Kincaid. I have no issues with Kincaid. His touchdown reception last night was fucking incredible.
It was so good.
But I'm just seeing, I mean, the yak and the volume with Khalil Shakir right now, dude. I think he's every bit as good as Amon-Ra St. Brown. I really, really do. Find me the flaw.
I see the similarity. Yeah. Now that you talk, even just like how they play, and how they carry themselves, I can see it. Yeah. And it's volume, right? It's what Amon-Ra has done it when he is the number one target and he receives that volume. So he has already done it. Khalil is not. So I'm not going to put him on that same like pedestal. But boy, oh boy, would I want to? I think he could.
Yeah.
But I think that the issue is could he do it if he was expected to be the number one target and get that volume to do it? And I would love for him to see it. But yeah, I
probably
get
won't.
it.
I agree with you.
I totally get it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's just my eye test. But we can scooch out. Was there anything else we want to talk about for the Jags game, or should we move on to the Sunday Night Football game?
We got a couple comments in here that I think we should touch on real quick. Shout out my little brother Zach. What's up, buddy? Yeah. Somebody told me that Buffalo is doing well despite the injuries because of the staff. That's absolutely true. It's the coaching staff and what Sean McDermott's able to do with that defense with Teron Johnson, Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano out. That's like your entire linebacker core, your starting linebacker, middle of the defense, and they're out. And it's absolutely what how they kind of approach things. So yeah, no, that's absolutely a great point.
Yeah, for sure.
Question here: are staff part of the salary cap? No, they are not. They get paid by Terry Bagula right out of the big man's pocket, and he can he can pay him whatever he wants. And Sean McDermott is the one who hires his staff, but Terry Bagula is the one who pays them.
That's a really interesting concept, dude. Like, imagine if the coaching staff went against the salary cap. Like what's the salary cap look like for in Kansas City with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like, and what does a coach like Andy Reid make? Is he making $30 million a year like these top receivers? Or I don't know. I'm curious. Yeah. That's a great thought, though.
Right. Yeah. That'd be kind of crazy. And last one here from Luke. Josh playing with the confidence because he doesn't have the pressure to throw to Diggs. What do you guys think?
That would be a resounding yes from me. I think when you take that pressure away, dude, it's kind of okay. Tom, you can relate to this. This is how I can look at it, dude. I remember teaching high school band, and when you have a kid that is way better than all the other students, right? You like that kid like expects treatment, and you don't want to give it to him. But as a band director, you also don't want your band to sound like shit. So you kind of need that kid. So like you'll kind of do it a little bit because you almost have to, and you want to keep him happy. This is like, and when that kid is gone, then you give your attention to all the other wonderful, deserving students that make your day better because they're good kids and not just good players, right? Yeah. I'm Josh Allen, and the band is the receiving court, right? Like it's super similar. You know, you take somebody like that, and they're a bad egg, and you just. It's so funny, man. But just touching on Stephon Diggs real quick, Houston fans are doing exactly what Buffalo fans did when he first came over on Twitter. Look at all these leadership examples, and what an inspiring speech when things aren't going well, and this doesn't look like a shitty leader to me. Like I did all these tweets when he first came over, and now I'm watching the Houston fans do it, and us and the Minnesota fans are just like, we'll just hang out here with our popcorn for a minute, and you let us know when you figure it out.
I've seen a few memes of the now famous picture of Stephon Diggs out looking at the AFC Championship celebration that the Chiefs had when we lost in that game, and he's standing there on the sideline all bummed. This is now it's Diggs looking at the Bills offense, everybody getting the ball and humming.
Yep, absolutely, man. Shout out to Zach and Luke for those questions. We appreciate it, y'all. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Anybody else out there wants to throw some more up, we'll happy to discuss your thoughts. So thank you. We do appreciate it.
Get into the Ravens here, boys.
Yeah. Set us up here, bud.
Sweet. So yeah, we got another primetime game here. Sunday Night Football. It'll be September 29th at 8:20 p.m. Eastern time. 7:20 for me here in Nashville. Got to remember that. Playing the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. So obviously the Ravens, not off to the start that people expected and what they hoped, I'm sure, but finally got a win last week. But I mean, I don't know, man. Like, how did you guys feel watching that? I mean, they did their best to choke it away.
I think they almost pissed it away. Yeah, they went up big, and then the nail biter that shouldn't have ever gotten to that point.
It should never have been close, dude. So
the Cowboys lost that game more than the Ravens won that game.
100%, dude. So I mean, you always have your key things you got to worry about with the Ravens, right? Obviously, the number one threat is Lamar Jackson and his ability to either throw or pass. Yes, I'm one of the people that does think Lamar is actually a good quarterback in addition to an elite runner with the ball in his hands. I think this is an area, though, where Sean McDermott has typically done well in the past. Lamar, knocking on wood, Lamar has yet to have one of those games where he, runs for a trillion yards and all that stuff against us. The name of the game with Lamar Jackson isn't so much sacking him, it's containing him, right? Defensive ends can't fly 7 yards up the field. Hello, Von Miller, looking at you. Defensive ends can't go 5 yards up the field. Defensive tackles have to be responsible for their gaps. Linebackers, same thing. So, it's containing Lamar Jackson. It's not getting the sacks. Derrick Henry is now the main running back in Baltimore. Again, another guy that Sean McDermott has had success against as a head coach. He has a couple, I think maybe two, really, really, really long touchdown runs that he's had against Sean McDermott. But most of the time, his stat line is mild for a Derrick Henry. So, you got to keep an eye on those guys. And then the speedy receivers, right? Speedy receivers in Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers. Two really good guys there, the guys you have to pay attention to. And then Mark Andrews, who I still think for my money is probably top 3-4 tight end in the league. Tommy, Jake, you guys want to touch on those?
Can you expand on Mark Andrews? Because he looks like his wings are clipped right now. I think he had 0 catches last week, and
I know he doesn't look great right now, man. And I've seen his stat lines be ugly. I'm not ready to concede that he, isn't something that we have to legitimately worry about. The guy, you want to talk about an athletic freak. The guy is built like he's like Sasquatch, dude. Super athletic. I'm not ready to say we don't have to worry about Mark Andrews. That's why I still put him in this category, because I think any game here, you could see him pop off for, triple digits in receiving yards and a touchdown. But I do recognize that you guys are absolutely right. He has not been great so far this year. I don't know what that is necessarily. I don't know if it's him or if it's Lamar or if it's defenses erasing Mark Andrews. Tom, you look like you're ready to speak there.
I'm looking up his snap count. Just 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it's more than just he's not playing well. It's their usage, and I have it right
here.
Oh,
Isaiah Likely outsnapping him.
Sorry, it's a big list. It's a big list. It's a big list, and I'm looking at.
That's okay, dude. That's all right. There's other things I can chat about here while you're checking that out.
21 snaps, only 33% of the snaps last week against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So
that's low for him.
It's just his usage, right? It's more than his what he's doing with it. Is he on the field? So I don't know. My big thing looking at this game is you're right, Nigel, that we have done a good job of containing Lamar. We have done a good job containing Henry. The last time he's had a big game against us was 2021, 3 years ago, which is a freaking forever in a running back lifespan.
Yeah.
But what happens when you have both of them, right? Which is exactly what the Ravens were thinking when they went out and signed Derrick Henry is what happens when you have to account for both Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. So, but man, oh man, if I trust anybody to figure that out, I trust Sean McDermott and Bobby Babbitt. I trust them to come up with a game plan to set up this defense to contain them and make the Ravens have to work for it.
And we don't say that because we're homers. We say that because the proof is in the pudding. Sean McDermott's resume involves, I'm not going to say shutting those guys down, but limiting them more than other defensive coordinators, right? Like he's got a proven track record of doing that, both as a defensive coordinator and as the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Yes. Right. So I'm not about to sit here and be like, oh my God, blah, 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 right. And they're a factor. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to sit here and lose sleep over those two because I know what the head coach has done against them in the past. Right. It's just looking at the larger sample size, and not to mention this small sample size of those two playing together. Hello, you're 1-2 and you are almost 0-3.
And you lost to the Raiders, and every game has been within 5 points.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm telling you right now, the Bills aren't going to try and make it a 5-point game. They're going to try and make it a 15-point game. So what are you going to do when you're playing from behind or playing with a big, a big disparity in points? I don't know. I think right now we are feeling ourselves because we're coming off this really fun win.
Of course we are.
But yeah, I don't know. I think this Baltimore team is going to be vulnerable. The issue is we're also playing at their house on Sunday Night Football, right? That's a big deal.
That's a loud house. I think if I was going to boil down the Bills' defensive keys to victory into one word, it would just be discipline, right? Because so much of that offense is predicated on those RPOs, Lamar reading his keys and deciding whether or not to hand off or run. You have to be committed to your gap in your lanes, and if you're not, they will bully you. But if you can stay disciplined and do your 111th, right? Not to use the Belichick cliche, but it's a real thing. You can do your 111th and be responsible for your job. You're gonna be fine. You're just gonna be fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude. Defensively, a couple players we definitely have to worry about. The main one being Roquan Smith, an elite linebacker, both in pass cover or pass defense and run defense. He's crazy good, super athletic, plays violent. He's an absolute problem. No two ways about it. The other one that I worry about is Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton is essentially a better, younger, more athletically souped up Jordan Poyer, plays downhill, maybe sort of in that Derwin James category, the safety for the Chargers. Just a big guy, plays downhill, plays heavily in the run game, but can be a ball hawk too. Will pick off the ball. He's got turnovers already this season, so he's a guy to watch out for. And then Odafe Owe it seems to be finding his groove a little bit. His numbers in terms of sacks the last couple of years have been mid would be generous, but he's got 2.5 sacks in 3 games here. Whereas in the last couple of seasons, it's been, 5 sacks in 16 games or 17 games. So he seems to be finding a groove as a pass rusher a little bit. I do worry about him. I was high on him coming out of the draft. He was a guy, if you think back at the time of the draft, his name was Jason Owe. Some people forget that he did, I don't want to say one of those, but he took on his more authentic name and got rid of the name that makes white people happy. So if you remember the name Jason Owe, it's the same as Odafe Owe. Yeah, I agree, Jake. Applaud. But yeah, he's a guy that is insanely athletic, is looking like he's figuring it out. Again, these Bills tackles right now playing as good as we've ever seen them play. So who knows how much of a factor he is. Maybe this is the first game where he doesn't get a sack, but those 3 guys you have to watch for him. No two ways about it. You could probably throw an honorable mention to Marlon Humphrey. He's been a good cornerback in this league for a long time, but I'll be honest, I don't give a shit about any cornerback in the league right now with the way this offense is playing.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie.
I was about to shout out the both Spencer Brown and Deion Dawkins for Owe. Do you know what side of the ball he plays on?
I actually don't. I'm not positive.
Because the one I could think, okay, yeah, as good as Spencer Brown's been playing, I still think he is not on Deion Dawkins' levels. So if he's playing on Deion Dawkins' side, have fun.
Yeah, well, Deion Dawkins is as fast as Odafe Owe is.
Yeah,
Deion Dawkins is still going to line up in line with the ball and just bank on his technique to make that little boy look silly.
I've been watching some clips of Deion. Not to we're getting off task here, but I have to say it. Deion, one of his favorite moves is this snatch grab, where what happens is he lets the defender engage with him, and then he just swipes his hands and just pushes the defender's arms off of him, and they just face plant into the dirt. It's
honestly, it's so good.
It's so good. Just go to Twitter, go to Google, and just look it up, folks. Like, it's a Deion Dawkins snatch grab. It's so much fun to watch, and it's just really disrespectful. It's just like it's just getting thrown into the dirt. It's insane.
For sure. Yeah. All right, boys. I think that's all I have here in terms of the Ravens stuff. Unless you boys have anything you want to toss out there, should we do some score predictions?
Sure.
Jake, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm going to go. I'm not going to bet against this team until they tell me otherwise. So I'm going 32-20. Bills come out on top.
Tom, we just made those notes. What are you doing?
I was like, I'm glad I saw it in my head. So we have a shared planning doc, and so we can all see it. But meanwhile, Nigel and I had our score predictions written down. Tom's in there with the backspace bar.
Just deleting. Is this the score I just had written down? I think it is.
I think so.
Tom's dying. My prediction 28-17. I do think this is going to be a better this is probably going to be the best team we've faced so far. I know they've had a rocky start, but on paper, this is a really good Ravens team. A Ravens team that has, it's Super Bowl expectations, right? Like absolutely. So, and it's a team that recognizes they haven't had the start that they want, and we should expect them to be hungry. So I'm going to say 28-17. I have no reason to think that the offense is going to come down. So yeah, I'll say 28-17.
I'm not going to type anything into this document.
I was waiting for it. You're too smart.
I'm not touching it. Man, I think the Bills go in and take care of business. I really do. I can't. I'm with Jake. I can't count against this and bet against this team yet. I'm not ready to do it. So I'm going to go. Jake, what was your score? I don't want to use the same one. You said.
I don't remember, Tom.
Ah!
No, I think it was 32-20 or something like that.
Okay, all right. 31-20, I think is what you said. 31-20. So I'm gonna go also 31. I'm gonna say 31 or 30, and I'm gonna go 34-27. It's a high score game. I think we're gonna have to outscore these guys, and go in and take care of business. But it's gonna be a good one. Another prime time, and we have a actually before we go out here, we have a little bit of a stretch, and so far we're 3-0, which is to be honest, looking at what we did our schedule predictions, I don't think we were ready to say the Bills were going to be 3-0 in this stretch. Would you guys agree?
Nope. Okay, I predicted us to lose to the Jags.
So I'm going to give us the next couple games here. We got Bills Ravens. Week after we got Bills Texans. Week after we got Bills at Jets. Then we're back home, Titans, Bills. We go out, Bills, Seahawks, and then Bills, Dolphins. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. Oh, we're 3-0 right now. I think ideally we're at least 4-2 against that stretch, which puts us as 7-2.
I was going to say 7-2 would be my guess through there.
Right? Like we're set up doing great 9 games into the season, being 7-2, right?
Oh my God,
especially
you told me if you had told me we'd be 7-2 9 games in, I'm hammering that every time.
Right? Like, please, thank you. So I think we have a little bit of a stretch here, but we're setting ourselves up for success, which I think is a good place to be. So lots of games to be played. This is not the time that we have not made the playoffs. This is not the Super Bowl. There's lots of games to be played, but boy, oh boy, is it fun.
Yes, it is, Tommy.
All right, buddies.
Well
hey,
said.
I love you both. Let's get out of here. Here we go. Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for spending some time with us. Please give us a like and a follow on Instagram, X, TikTok, and our YouTube channel at Let's Go Buff Pod. These are my pals, Jake and Nigel. My name is Tom, and you're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast. We're sending you love wherever you are. Go Bills, go Sabres, let's go Buffalo.